welcome to Getting to the Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee, and today's guest is illustrator, cosplayer, entrepreneur, yarn artist. Please welcome Erin Brooks.
Hey.
Howdy. So I want to start off by saying, like, you have the dope pictures. I appreciate the pictures that are out there. Everything is really cool. A lot of work, a lot of effort goes into what you're putting out there, and it's just done well. Like, I've seen people who are like, I kind of dabble in this, but the whole setup, your whole account is doing very well. It's dope. Bravo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So give us those vital stats for those who may not be initiated and familiar with your Instagram or your online presence or even your business. Give people the vital stats. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Things like that.
Okay, so I grew up in Pikesville, Maryland. My parents were divorced and they're actually both disabled. So I was back and forth taking care of each parent. I went to Oldfields High School and then went to Towson.
Okay.
One semester away from graduating, I was in a car accident, which actually disabled my right arm, neck and back with chronic pain. And that just kind of destroyed my life for a good 12 years. I was on pain meds for most of it, and I just kind of reclused. Then I lost most of my family, and really started to snap out of it when the last of my family, my grandfather, passed away in 2014, because I was pregnant with him. And then I really decided to just kind of start focusing on me and, getting better. So I got off all the medication I was on. I started really working on a fitness routine and it started to, sorry, my cat, started to really try to get my life back together. I had discovered some things that my husband was doing that were not okay with me. And I gave him an ultimatum that, you either shape up or, I'm taking the kids. So to reinforce that, I went back to college, went back to Towson, finished my art degree, got a job for a little bit and hated it, and started on the side just kind of crocheting, and people started to want to buy things. Yeah. So it got to a point where I could stop working my job and stay home and work my own art business. So after having and thank you for sharing that, by the way. Oh, absolutely.
So for all of the things that you experienced and kind of gone through, it was kind of like having something to maybe shift your attention to, something that was really about you, and kind of diving into to the crochet business, that kind of art business, and pursuing your degree. And obviously that was important to you. So tell me about how we got into the cosplay component of this.
Okay. So my childhood was, and please stop. Sorry, my son's here. So my childhood was very rough. My parents were verbally abusive. My mom would OD on her pain meds. And I was basically raised to be their caretaker. So I didn't really have a normal childhood. I didn't have friends. So I escaped into geek toys. I was She-Ra, He-Man, My Little Ponies, Xena, Hercules. That was my escape. And I have always had a passion for it. And it wasn't really until I started working on myself that I felt comfortable saying, who the hell cares how old I am? Yeah. I love this shit and I'm going to keep on rocking it.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I kind of got out of going to BlurredCon and different conventions. Once you, I got it when I was in my 20s. It's like, you're too old for that, or you're too big for that, all of that. Now in my 30s, and it's like a bunch of pops behind me, and I'm an action figure currently, or a cartoon character. And one of the things my girlfriend was saying, she's like, I need to design you a pop. It's just going to have a Carhartt shirt on and a beard. I was like, I'm looking forward to it. She's like, it's going to be the cutest thing. It's just eyeballs. I was like, stop. But
I
think right now, maybe this is true, but I guess when you get to a later stage in your life, stuff that you may not have afforded when you were a kid, you're like, I can get that now. I'm going to get this dead stock Ninja Turtles figure.
Exactly. I have 2 Battle Cats, a She-Ra pop figure. I have a Captain Janeway toy. Yeah. And I have a bunch of My Little Ponies I always wanted as a kid that I could never find.
That's really dope. And then you can get into like the imports and stuff too. So
oh gosh, there goes the money.
yeah. I went to what was it? It was I think it was Awesome Con, and they had the original artist from Masters of the Universe there. So I got a bunch of signed things or what have you. And I met Karen Ashley from like Power Rangers or what have you. And
oh, cool.
Me and my colleague Dieris from Co-Play Media at Blurred Podcast, you'd love it. We're both like 6'4", so we're standing next to her and she's like tiny, and it's like it's morphin time, but it's like a weird inverted like bridge or something. It's hilarious. So my understanding with because I'm relatively new to it, I want to say in the last few years, really getting out there and looking into the culture and feeling like it's more acceptable, right? I see that the prices of things are really weird. Convention season, people are doing things and making it happen. And so describe to me maybe one of the more expensive cosplays you've done.
Actually, most of my cosplays are all digital. I normally have a few staple pieces that I'm able to modify digitally. Okay. And there comes my art background, and really recreate things that I envision, because it's very frustrating for me when I see something that I want to do and it doesn't exist. Yeah. So I make it happen. I've been recently trying not to completely replicate the character I'm being, but kind of envision my own take on it. Yeah. So that's been really fun.
So you're able to use your arts background to make these kind of like digital images. Because as I was going through it, I was like, she has a lot of time on her hands. Like,
it actually takes me about an hour or two. Sorry. It actually takes me about an hour or two to get a digital cosplay. I always pre-plan and, get the elements that I want to use. So I have a long sleeve skin tight shirt. I have a crop top corset. I have kind of a close up shirt that's super tight, and I'm able to morph those and, just kind of add elements of what I'm looking for into it.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely going to have to talk about. I need to be cosplayed out for like my beard, and I have the bald head right now. I have a jet black thing going on. I need to make that happen. I can't get a metal arm, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make it happen.
Awesome. Definitely. So, although I do have a lot of Gymshark clothes, so I use them in my cosplay too.
Yeah, because you're a big fitness person too. I see the videos. I see you really just getting it every day. Just there's the kicks, there's the squats, there's the punches, the whole thing. So I like that's a component of it too, because I see where when it's that season, when people are in it, it's like, look, I got to make sure this latex fits. Like,
yes, I love MMA. I started before I kind of got my life together, but it was one thing that helped me feel more powerful than I was at the time. I was feeling really depressed and anxiety, and that was something that I always latched onto, and it made me feel more like a badass, even if I wasn't able to put my whole self into it back then.
Yeah. So what is geek culture to you as a person that's a fan of it, a person that's within that industry? How would you define it for people? Because it felt, and I'm sure you've encountered this for a long time, that, this isn't for grown-ups. This isn't for me. And it's like you got to do it in a closet or something. It's like, let me hurry up and put this episode of Silverhawks on before somebody sees me. But what is geek culture for you?
It is, I think, a spirit that empowers you. I think there's these amazing idols that no human can possibly become in real life, but we can embody their spirit. And that makes us feel strength and excitement and happiness. And it really ignites the creativity and just the fantasy and sci-fi elements, that anything could be possible.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask this. I know I have this kind of playlist, and you're doing the fitness as well. So, are there any like geeky songs that like pop up on that workout playlist that you might have? For me, I know that pretty much any anime thing pops up, like Dragon Ball, like Ultra Instinct. That theme is just on loop, and I was like, yeah, I am going to grow my silver hair. I am going to make this happen. But is there something that pops up for you that's in that kind of geeky space? Are you listening to music when you're working out? Tell me more about that.
Oh, actually, I work out to Body Combat, so it's pre-track listed choreography punches.
Okay.
But I do love the Star Trek themes.
Here you go.
Even they're slower, but I get goosebumps whenever that orchestra starts playing. I'm like, oh.
The orchestral music for me was probably either the original RoboCop theme or like Terminator or what have you. It's like, oh yeah, I am gonna melt something down. Yeah. You are coming with me if you want to live. So I read that you're in that you talked about that space of being an artist, entrepreneur. So tell me a little bit more about maybe some of the commission and some of the work that you're getting. You talked about it's more of like oriented around pets now, but what are some of the projects you've gotten? Some of the more noteworthy ones.
So I love doing the geek crochet. I have a Crochet Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nice.
And a Falcor from the Neverending Story.
Nice. That's really cool.
So I have a Stitch. I have Baby Yodas. I have Darth Vader here somewhere. Little mini Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But I love doing them, but I do get a little bit more satisfaction doing other people's pets, especially the ones that passed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to give back to them something that they've lost that they can keep on to.
So what does that process look like? Is it like for you to, let's say, put together maybe like that Baby Yoda for sake of argument, how long would it take and what does that process look like? I know nothing about knitting or crocheting or whatever.
Oh, there's a pattern.
Okay.
And I don't create all my own patterns. I have to buy them, but I do like to customize them, especially with the animals. For Baby Yoda, I can do Baby Yoda in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The simpler it is, the faster I can do it. So for a very complex dog or cat, it probably takes me 5 to 7 days of crocheting. It also depends on the children's cooperation and any events we got going on.
I dig it. Yeah, I see. I know what my request is going to be. It might be this animated figure behind me. Just I think you can do it. I was like, get this customized Erin Brooks original of Rob Lee. That'll be fantastic.
I could try.
So let's talk about creativity by and large. As a creator, what I like to find out is about people's processes, about people's routines. But let's talk about what are 3 things that you need to be creative, to really dive into their creativity outside of if, like I've had people answer in a really gauche kind of way. It's like, oh, I'm a painter, so obviously I need paint. I was like, don't be an ass. But I mean, like, what do you need to be like creative? Like, is it a space thing? Is it, I need to have my favorite meal? What is it for you to be creative? What do you need?
I like to watch geek shows and I love to get inspiration from the latest geek news. For most of my creativity comes in my cosplays, and I also like to use a lot of myself in them, past experiences. I like to share of my past in those cosplays and how that character related or how I gained inspiration from that character in my life during that part time in my life.
And I understand.
But like, let's see, I've talked about my anorexia. I've talked about, my abusive parents, and I would always relate a cosplay character to that. And my fitness also helps, just getting the mindset and being pumped.
No, that's a big thing. I know for me, like if I'm having to do I'll do 5 podcasts in a day. Like tomorrow's going to be, and I'll get up, and if my day doesn't really start right, if I haven't had my coffee, and if I haven't had that normal setup, as you probably can see, it's just, I got my coffee here. But if I haven't had that setup and starting the day off right, then something is missing. I'm not able to really be completely my best version of who I'm trying to present as this creative. So about how long have you been cosplaying, and what is one of those favorite cosplays you've done?
Oh, I've been cosplaying since 2018, 19, digitally. Things when I started, things were really rough, so it was definitely all digital back then.
The other part was was there a favorite one that comes to mind?
I love doing Wonder Woman and She-Ra. I will always go, and Xena. Those are my three badass women that I favor the most. I made sure I have brown shorts. I have a Xena shirt. I just got white Gymshark pants for my She-Ra shirt. And I have like 3 Wonder Woman shirt and an actual Wonder Woman cosplay. So, and my watch, my Wonder Woman watch.
So I got a couple more questions here. And I think you've touched on it, but if there's another element, please do. What from your vantage point makes like a good end product, whether it be the digital cosplay, whether it be the crochet work? What comes to mind when it's like something that is a good version of it? What separates that good version of it from that not so good version of that?
When you put your heart into it, when it comes from the heart and from your soul, instead of just half-assing and just like whatever, you might as well not do it. Yeah. So I always make sure to put love into my cosplays and my crochet, and it makes a difference. I feel if you're truthful with yourself. Yeah,
from what I'm seeing digitally and what I've seen on this video, absolutely. It's some people are like, yeah, I did this. It's like, that does not look like it at all. You rushed that. So what part of geekdom that it's just not for you? You just don't get. It's just like, a lot of people like this. I don't like it. I
am very open-minded. And I will never bash anybody for anything they're into. I think it's all amazing. I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z person. I was Sailor Moon. I'm sorry.
I love Sailor Moon.
That was my shit.
Mine is My Hero.
My daughter's big into My Hero Academia. She's going as Bakugo for Halloween. I do love anime. And I've recently got into Korean drama on Netflix.
As one does.
But I won't bash anybody. For a while, I wasn't even into Star Wars. I was a Star Trek baby. Like, I couldn't understand why people were into Star Wars until I started watching Rebels and Clone Wars. And that totally hooked me more than the original movies, sad to say, but
yeah, it's one of those things where I think for me, I like to revisit some of these things because I guess as a kid and as like younger, it's like you're watching maybe what a relative was watching, or a brother or sibling or parents or what have you. You're kind of getting your geekdom maybe from someone else. Like, I inherited my old comic books. I inherited my joy of certain cartoons from older like relatives or what have you. And then when you're able to dive into it yourself, you end up becoming the person that's sharing it, whether it be with your kids or whether it be with someone else. So like my brother and I.
For me, that was Star Trek. Yeah. Like my mom, that was our thing. We watched Star Trek, The Next Generation and Voyager. Yeah. And for the longest time, I couldn't get the big one into Star Trek until Lower Decks came out.
I mean, they can animate it works.
I know. And now I can't wait for Prodigy.
My brother and I, we got my nephew into, I think he's 12. We got him into Power Rangers, and he was like, oh, I like the old ones better than these new ones. The new ones aren't good. And so he just has all of these like retro toys, and he's just like born in like 2009. And it's like, yo, you have these really cool old things. Keep in mind that they're retro. So, there are collectors out there. So now we're moving to like rapid fire, and essentially with the rapid fire questions, it's just like 5 questions, and it's more of like, what are you into? And you don't really have to provide any context if you don't want to. Okay. So pops or action figures?
Action figures.
What was your first convention?
I've never been to one.
Oh.
It's been that kind of a life. I just was never fortunate enough to be able to go to one. That's going to be changing hopefully soon.
Okay.
but it's always been a dream. I've gone to all the digital stuff recently. Like COVID's been like, everything's online. I can go to all this stuff. COVID's been a blessing in that, that everything's available to everybody. So.
Yes. I was able to do I had a really great, I'll call it Japanese weekend. I went to Little Tokyo in LA, saw Japanese professional wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling. They came here for their first show in their 45-year existence. And then I went to the Anime Expo at the Staples Center. That was all in the same weekend. It was amazing, and I need to make that happen again. So that was one of my early conventions.
That's awesome.
Since you said Wonder Woman, Linda O'Gale.
Linda O'Gale?
Yeah.
She the cosplay one that looks exactly like Gal Gadot?
Linda Carter or Gal Gadot. Which Wonder Woman do you prefer?
Oh, Linda Carter. Okay, that's I'm Gal Gadot. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Favorite Disney villain?
Maleficent.
I'm a Dr. Facilier kind of guy because he looks like Prince.
I get it. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Totally.
Nothing says villainy other than a midriff. When you have your abs out, you're doing villain work.
Yes, totally.
Kirk or Picard?
Picard.
Okay. You won.
No contest. Like.
So that's pretty much all of the questions that I had. So I want to leave it open to you to promote anything you want to promote, your social media, all of that good stuff. And thank you. This has been a lot of great answers, a lot of great questions. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for putting up with the children in the background.
All good.
Check out my Instagram is Erin's Go Bra at Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. It's at everything. I got lucky in that sense. I was able to use the same thing for all platforms.
That's great.
And in that you can check out my yarn art. It's all linked together. So,
well, thank you. So for Erin Brooks, I am Rob Lee saying that there's art in and around Baltimore. You just have to look for it.